and to celebrate on financial inclusion for development, building on 10 years of progress. This event is kindly co-hosted by the group of friends, the co-chairs of the group of friends, which include the missions of the permanent missions of Indonesia, Peru, and Tanzania at the UN. My name is Tilman Ehrbeck. I am the chair of Her Majesty Queen Maxima's reference group as the UNSGSA. And in that capacity, I've been asked to MC this event. And as we are waiting for the Secretary General, I will give you a quick overview of what we are going to do. We will hear from the Secretary General and Her Majesty. We will then show a brief movie, and then we will hear from a number of distinguished speakers as testimonials for her work. It's a great honor to be here and to MC. It's very easy as well because none of the distinguished speakers actually needs any introduction. So I welcome immediately the Secretary General, His Excellency Antonio Gutierrez. Thank you very much to give us your opening remarks.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to apologize because I will speak, listen a little bit of time and immediately have to go because today I have about 40 bilaterals and this is my 6th intervention. So it's a little bit complicated and I will be extremely unpolite, but I have no alternative. Your Majesties, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today to focus on the role of financial inclusion in sustainable development. But I want to particularly thank Her Majesty Queen Maxima, my special advocate, for raising the profile of this issue around the world in a way that has been absolutely remarkable. I believe that these 10 years have indeed made an enormous difference. I believe that when you started, we heard in a kind of proto-history of financial inclusion, and today we are really in a very dynamic movement everywhere. So on behalf of the United Nations as a whole, I wanted to thank you very much and to say how proud I am that you have accepted to go on remaining as my special advocate. And I thank the group of friends for financial inclusion for their work and for co-hosting today's event. Achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development depends on adequate financing, based on the global partnership agreed in the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. This relies in turn on taking full advantage of the fintech revolution. New financial technologies, institutions and markets have great potential to extend financial inclusion and to facilitate investment. Since 2011, the proportion of people with access to formal financial services has risen from 50% to nearly 70%. Some 1.2 billion additional people now have access to savings accounts, credit, payment plans, and insurance products. These services can help people and communities to build resilience and to make the most of opportunities. New financial technologies have also reduced operational costs, enabling governments to reach people with financial services more easily. They can facilitate investment and help small businesses to access credit. And they can help to fight the tax evasion, money laundering, and illicit financial flows that can drain resources from the developing world. However, despite this enormous progress, some 1.7 billion adults still do not have an account with a financial institution or a mobile money provider. And more than half are women. Gender equality is a proven driver for ending poverty and building sustainable communities and economies. And so it's particularly negative that more than half of those that are deprived of these instruments are women. The strategy for financing the 2030 Agenda that was launched last year sets out ways in which the United Nations can support a fundamental shift to align global economic policies and financial systems with the 2030 Agenda. Seizing the potential of financial innovations, new technologies and digitalization to provide equitable access to finance is one of its 3 key objectives. Beyond the United Nations, I am pleased that the G20, the Gates Foundation and others are prioritizing financial inclusion, and more than 50 countries have now developed their own national financial inclusion strategies. Lack of a legal identity is a major bar to financial inclusion for 1.1 billion people. Any solution must include efforts to tackle these. Excellencies, Majesties, ladies and gentlemen, new technologies can create new risks, disrupt labor markets and contribute to growing inequality. Financial systems and regulatory frameworks must manage these risks without creating new obstacles to achieving the 2030 Agenda. The Task Force on Digital Financing of the Sustainable Development Goals is addressing these challenges. Its forthcoming report finds that digitalization is already helping to mobilize funds more quickly and direct them towards sustainable development. And I hope these initiatives will continue to complement and support each other to harness the fintech revolution for sustainable development and promote lives of peace, dignity, and prosperity for all. And Your Majesty, I know that with your leadership, with your enthusiasm, and with your mobilization capacity, this is going to move even more quickly in the next 10 years.
To introduce Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, the UN Secretary General's Special Advocate for Inclusive Finance for Development. As our next distinguished speaker, I would like to welcome His Excellency Mr. Rudi Antara, the Minister of Communication and IT from the Republic of Indonesia, one of the co-chairs of the Group of Friends. Minister.
Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, distinguished speakers, my friends here, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, digital economy is something foreseeable in Indonesia. Our country, with 260 million people, is a firm believer on the digital economy. Next year, our digital economy will reach 130 billion US dollars, or represents slightly over 11% of our real GDP. Why we believe on the digital economy? Number one, reason number one, this digital economy create workforce digitations. As we see here, this standing banner, Gojek, on the movie Gojek, they create 1 million a new worker, which is digital workforce. Gojek type of application is no longer the ride-hailing in the country. They are now is becoming the super apps. It's a lifestyle. It's not only ride-hailing. We can order food from Gojek, which is what we call food. And this create the new micro, small, medium enterprises. For the one who would like to have a restaurant, they are good in cooking something, they have to lease the space. But with these applications, so for the one who are good in cooking something, as long as they have a good brand, they can deliver it directly to their kitchens, delivered by Gojek. The e-commerce platform in Indonesia, one of them, they have 7 million merchants. And out 7 million merchants, 70% are the one who never been in the business before. So this is really create the micro, small, medium enterprises with this digitation. Reason number two, shared economy. Always shared economy, shared economy, shared economy. In this Gojek business model, who own the asset, who own the motorcycle, who own the bicycle, it's not the company, it's not the Gojek, it's not the apps, but the people own the bike, motorbike. Who own the kitchen? It's not Gojek, it's not in their balance sheet, but people. This is what we call a shared economy. And more important things is number 3, which is financial inclusions. Gojek, they have GoPay. Only within the years, they have processed $6 billion transaction. So that's why we are a firm believer on digital economy. In particular, on the financial inclusions. Thank you, Excellency Queen Maxima. Indonesia has also developed the national strategy for financial inclusion to boost economic growth through equal income distribution, poverty reduction, and financial stability, which consists of 5 pillars. Number 1, financial education. Number 2, property right. The government has issued more than 20 million certificates of the land. So the landowner, they can use the certificate for the guarantee to get the loan from the banks right now. This is only for the last 3 years. Third, intermediation and financial distributions. We promote more branchless banks in the country. Use the technology, find the new ways, find the new business process, maximizing the use of technology. Third, government financial services. Fifth, consumer protections. And those 5 pillars supported by 3 fundamental strategies. Number 1 is policy and regulations. Second, effective organizations and mechanism. And last but not least is the ICT infrastructures. Indonesia consists of 17,000 islands. Some ask me, Rudy, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Weather depends on the whether it's high tide or low tide. But anyway, this is how to share with you how big is our country. It's not land, it's not pretty much land countries, which is easier to build the ICT infrastructure. Thanks, we have completed with the project, we call it Palaparing, that we built the backbone for broadband that connect the whole region throughout the country, which is 540 countries. So there is no reasons that we are not be able to speed up, to boost the financial inclusion in the country. I would like also to extend my sincere thank you to Excellency Queen Maxima that always keep her eye to Indonesia. By this, I would like to conclude my remarks, my statements, and thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Minister, for bringing to life what financial inclusion means on the ground and explain your government's